Welcome to today's webinar about augmenting app-based experiences for visitors at home and in your museums. My name is Charity Counts. I'm the Executive Director for the Association of Midwest Museums. We're hosting this webinar today, but we're excited to be working with our friends at OnCell to dive a little deeper into a topic that we really just brushed the surface of in a webinar last week about online exhibits. And that's the idea that you can take your existing apps and augment those to create experiences for visitors who are at home and have needs for access to cultural institutions right now and cultural content. I'm going to ask that our presenters introduce themselves and share what they do at OnCell, and then we'll let OnCell take it from there.
Yeah, so thanks everyone so much for joining. We're really excited to just share this information and help you learn a little bit more about how to augment your apps currently, or how to get one up and running fast and efficiently. So in terms of speakers today, we have Kyle, Josh, and myself on, and I'll let Kyle kind of go into what he does at OnCell, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As Genevieve said, Kyle Pierce, Head of Sales here. I help brainstorm and consult with any of our prospective clients or onboarding new people who are interested in looking at transitioning their audio guides or current apps that they have, or even just taking their brochures and updating them into a digital format. So I've been with OnCell over 6 years now, and worked on hundreds of projects, and looking forward to seeing how we can work through these times together.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh Gilbert, Head of Client Success here at OnCell. So me and my team would be working with you to get that app up and launched. As Kyle said, strategizing on different ways of doing that and best practices, and then also throughout the life of the app, being there for any help with updating content, making changes, pushing all of that out live.
Hi everyone, I am Genevieve. I'm the marketing manager at OnCell currently, and I actually came on to OnCell about almost a year ago now to help manage arts clients and museums, because I do have a background in arts management, marketing, and PR. So the marketing advice I give you today, I promise, is tailored to your industry, your solutions, and your digital initiatives. So I always like to preface it with that. I'm not some software marketing person just coming in telling you about your museum and how to market your experiences. I know what museums need. I know a little bit about the industry. It's been a long time that I've been studying it. So I'm really hoping that you'll see some stuff today that you find useful that you can go forth with.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about how it's much more than just an app that you're doing for your visitors. As I mentioned, we really work with all sorts of different clients in getting more information out to people through a digital experience, and it ranges from staying interactive with your visitors, staying connected, educating people. We've had a real success during this time, during the COVID crisis, on staying connected with school teachers, field trips, doing those virtually, still getting programming out through different museums, National Park Service clients, U.S. Forest clients. It really ranges from different state to state, from museum to museum, what your current situation is. And we've been able to really help our current clients and new people reaching out to brainstorm ideas on how we can really keep you guys engaged. And as much as you are closed, there's still people trying to use your content, use your information, still hold those field trips, because schools are still trying to keep their programming and their lesson plans going and on schedule. So we know that you're all trying to help out everybody in your local community. And this is a great way to reach them in a different way, and pairing with everything that you're already doing through social media, your website, and reaching out to people any way that you can. So we do work with you on different planning aspects, or as you look at different ways that you can use a digital experience or an app to make a way to reach out to these visitors and your returning teachers and school groups. There is the planning stage that we want to kind of work with you, or whoever you're working with. You kind of want to take a step back and understand what you're currently doing, how you're going to transition that to a digital experience, and making that quick and efficient at the same time. So as much as you do want to jump right into gathering content and new information, taking a little bit of time to plan out how that can happen. And if you can do it all in-house and do it remotely through your staff currently, if you have to reach out to others or use public domain, other on the online resources such as Flickr, Canva photos, social media, just people who have posted to your Facebook or your Instagram pages and shared really nice images with you, you can use those testimonials back and forth as well. And then obviously that in-house creation. So being able to easily take pictures if you're still on site and going into the office, updating images, creating more of a virtual tour. So people who are still stuck at home on their couches or in their living rooms, they can still take that experience. I saw somebody post in the web chat and talked about one of our National Park Service clients completing a Junior Ranger badge experience through one of our apps. And it can be really powerful to keep engaged and keep showing these people whether or not they could ever go to Mount Rushmore and earn their Junior Ranger badge there, or if they plan to go in 2 weeks and that trip got canceled. You're still able to get that messaging out to people, still stay engaged and interactive. Next slide. So as I was saying, continue to make that experience engaging. So as much as you have those current tours that you want to augment and change and switch around, we do want to make sure that we keep changing that and make the information ever changing. So as much as we have something in place quickly and efficiently, we always want to stay adding in new content. So driving more interaction through quizzes or sending out push notifications and alerts to people, but then also getting responses back from them through surveys. We're seeing a lot of success with videos that people already had inside their apps that we have as clients. Getting lots of great feedback from people of saying, oh, this is a great way to be able to show, take my family on this tour of this museum through these videos that you guys are sharing, and get kind of a guided experience if somebody's able to take a video of somebody giving an explanation of an exhibit or of a portrait inside. It really gives that in-person experience. And then building off of that with different maps, we can pinpoint and really show somebody where they would be on site, or using satellite views or different 3D images or virtual tour images. You can really pair with the maps to show somebody where they're going. If you're either inside a museum or you have some outdoor sculpture areas, or you're a park of some sort, it really allows for you to still integrate with some of that on-site interaction, so you can help people feel like they're there on site. So I'm going to pass it over to Josh to dive a little deeper into some of these experiences, so you can kind of get some visuals and actually see how people are using different apps in different ways, and they're kind of transitioning with the times right now to still get these out to people in different ways.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kyle. So the first example here that we have, the Chicago Institute of Art. And kind of the way we laid these out, we have some pros and cons of each of the different ways you can go about doing this, and then kind of what these apps include. So the Chicago Institute of Art here, we like this one. It's a basic tour that uses audio, images, and mapping. So as Kyle was saying, being able to show the map of your site, and having the user be able to kind of visualize themselves actually being there. And Chicago here does a good job with that. And then, after everything is back open, you're all set up for wayfinding when people are actually on site. Some of the cons here, the time. So putting something like this together, especially with that map the way it is, being this is a custom built app, that's pretty time consuming. Another one, this is giving away free access to your collections, which could be something that you change later on maybe. You could start charging for it if that's the route you want to go, or limiting some of that access. Some of the other things that we have here with the Walt Disney Family Museum, some of their pros are it's inclusive. This app is really built for accessibility, both in the way it has 16 different languages that it's localized in, and then it also has an ASL tour and a social story. So for folks on the autism spectrum, it really lays out, exactly what you're going to see and experience through all the different aspects of going to this museum. And then, as Kyle had mentioned also about videos, they a few years ago, they had a 60-minute video recorded that just really, flowed through the museum, showed all the different points to it. And then they're currently working to break that into 6 different clips that they're also just having a staff member record some narration behind to really make it a virtual tour. And they'll be uploading that into the app. The National Gallery of Art here is pretty neat in the sense that they actually ask you, if you're on site or not, and then the experience that you have with this app is different based on if you're there or if you're home, which is great, right now. Some of the cons here is, to do 2 different experience does mean it's 2 separate content gathering initiatives, which is separate planning. Again, takes some time, which I know everybody is short on right now. And again, just using the on-site, off-site tour paths with images, text, and audio, and some interactive mapping features. The Memorial Art Gallery, which is an art gallery here in Rochester, actually, is great either on or off-site. They have their entire collection in here, somewhere in the range of 600 to 700 different pieces of artwork, all with audio, text, really detailed descriptions of the pieces and the artists. And one thing that's really nice about their collection is it's very easy to navigate. So it's really just through that Explore Collection button, and it's all available based on the different galleries. Another thing we really like about this app is their favorites button. So with that, you're able to quickly favorite and kind of build your own curated experience. So all of your favorite pieces of art stored all in one spot. Maybe it's so you can go back now, and revisit those, or when things are back open, you've got quickly the list of sites you want to get to. The Louisiana Governor's Mansion here, they actually just switched. So this was a free tour that people could use on site, but with their doors being closed and not collecting any admission prices, they had to kind of pivot, and they actually began charging $5 for people to take this tour. And they did a revamp. It was just a basic tour with audio, images, text, and they kind of remade it pretty quickly, just in a matter of a week or so, adding in a quiz feature. So they asked different questions about the history of the mansion and its inhabitants, and they've really kind of pitched that for school teachers as an educational resource. They also had a scavenger hunt that would take you through the museum. That's that far right example, is a badge that can be earned taking the scavenger hunt. And so instead of forcing people to do that on site, now it's as you're just kind of scrolling through this tour, when you earn these badges at different points, reaching the state dining room and earning that marble fireplace badge. And this we pulled just from their website to kind of show how they were doing that. It's a $5 admission, and then you're forwarded an access code that will get you access to the app, and $5 for 15-20 minutes of keeping kids entertained definitely seems worth it right now.
And Kyle here again, going back off of that edutainment, as you will. The next slide that we're showing here is adding an experience like augmented reality can get really interactive, at a whole nother layer of engagement. It is kind of the newest digital engagement tool that there is. One of the cons, obviously, is timing, working with somebody to create this type of content. I've seen a lot of different apps in the past that have used different videos or just images, and how you trigger those and how you share those can be basically a nice introduction to augmented reality. But as this picture shows, with a T-Rex popping out of the phone and really being a true 3D image sitting on your countertop in your kitchen, it takes some time to make that work, and there's lots of different partners out there that you might have to work with to get this type of content created. But it can be used on site or off site, so you don't necessarily have to be on site. As you see from this kind of picture with the kitchen countertop, you can be at home to still trigger these cool, interactive, engaging items. And we have another example here that Genevieve is going to talk a little bit more about too, the City of Independence and how they make theirs even more into a game.
Yeah, so kind of going off of a little bit of what was discussed prior in some of these apps, this is kind of a collective experience of something that can be used both on-site and off-site. This includes a lot of gamification, quizzes, photo filters, badges. Obviously, the cons of this is time and pulling that content together, but the pros are kind of unlimited here. It's interactive, it's perfect for off and on-site. It has that edutainment aspect, that education made fun. That's incredibly important right now, especially with kids in home learning. I have an 8-year-old nephew who is stuck at home, who loves this stuff. I send it his way all the time, and he's home and he loves these photo filters. And my sister in return loves me because he is occupied for a little while. So so this one's gamified. This is actually built to kind of resemble the Oregon Trail game. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but this one's really, really fun, and the education aspects of it are never ending. And a game is something that can be played over and over. So like we just saw with the Louisiana Governor's Mansion, they decided that they were going to start charging admission because that revenue stream was completely gone for them as of right now. They're closed for the foreseeable future. And they were so grateful because we told them, add some interactive aspects. And then they were like, okay, and then we're going to start charging for this experience. And tried and tested and true. We didn't know how it was going to work. And they said that since they started charging admission, obviously, usage is lower because people aren't on site, but they are seeing people, they have a steady stream of revenue again in terms of admission, that $5 admission that they're charging. And this is kind of the same. If you gamify an app, if you create something that can be used over and over, something with an educational aspect, you're adding value, you're adding something where people are willing to pay that $5, that admission price, if it's priced correctly, if you feel as though that's the value of the experience you created. That's something people are going to be willing to do because obviously it's something that they can use over and over. It's entertaining, and it has a lot of these aspects, especially if you add that augmented reality. That's another one that's really going to amplify your experience, especially for off-site users. So in terms of marketing your experience, like Kyle said, an app is not just an app. As of right now, an app is a digital experience. It's something that you can use to charge admission, create another revenue stream if you needed, and at the same time create this interactive experience and stick with your missions to educate and share your collections. So I didn't want to give you all of the large campaigns we've seen in terms of people releasing these apps, because obviously money is tight for the industry. There's not a lot of options. And so I wanted to show you a little bit more of how to do this affordably and effectively, because launching an app doesn't mean that you have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in marketing. It just means you kind of have to know where to go and where to reach your audiences. So in terms of social media, obviously, I'm sure everyone knows your social media, that is where your direct users are. That is where people who love your institution most likely are looking for updates, looking for funny tweets, looking for Facebook messages, Facebook Live videos. That's a great one to use. And social media, a lot of times I tell our clients, pin the post to your Twitter, pin the post at the top of your Facebook. So when they're coming to your social media, the first thing they're seeing is, hey, we have this new digital and virtual experience. This is where you can download it. Maybe there's a QR code where people can download it. It's really easy to do. It's free, and it's something that will be effective in the long run. In terms of website promotions, we've seen a lot of people do blog posts, which I'll show a little bit. And then community outreach. Again, I mentioned social media. Where are your audiences currently? Where can you reach them? Are they in webinars that you can partner with? Can you hold webinars? Are they in Facebook groups talking about these arts institutions? Can you reach them? Where are your audiences? And then another thing is, if you have an educational experience, a lot of times I tell people, if it can be used for learning, chances are right now, teachers and schools want to know. So we've been telling people, if you have an educational experience in any way, even arts and culture, a collection to share, that's great. That's awesome. Especially art students right now at home, or history, anything at all, you can reach out to these schools and let people know, hey, we have this experience. It's free. Maybe you're charging admission. Maybe school field trips are canceled, and you need to let people know that you have this experience and they can supplement it for that school field trip and learning. These are really important ones to reach out to where your audiences are and to who might have been using your experience or been on site, in the upcoming months that it's now closed. Media, I'll show just one article that I saw someone did. They were super thrilled, and it worked out really well for them. They've gotten a surge in usage. And then also press releases. We've seen a lot of press releases work for people. Local media picks up on them. It's easy. It's something you can mass send out. And a lot of people do want to see this stuff. Normally we suggest press releases when it's launching, because it's more of a, hey, ribbon cutting experience. This is what we have. This is what we're doing. This is what you can use on site. Going forward, newsletters is a good one. Put it in your newsletter. Put it in partners' newsletters. I mentioned webinars, leveraging those partnerships. This is all really important right now. It's nice to lean on each other and kind of come up with ways that you can co-promote. Email campaigns are another great one, and some on-site signage. Obviously, on-site signage is for when you reopen. Promo cards, brochures, if you're looking to go green, I would suggest the website promotion and just that on-site signage in the front. But that is something that we also tell people to do, is on-site signage when you reopen is the most important thing for usage. A lot of times we have people who don't even know the tour exists at some of our institutions, and then they put up signage and we see an insane surge in usage.
Sorry.
In terms of the news article and the COVID web promotion, we have right here. So this is the client that recently contacted us. The great thing about this client is that they actually very recently, just months ago, launched this before they had to close for COVID. They had no idea they were going to have to close their doors. They did not see it coming down the tunnel. And they were just told, hey, let's implement a virtual tour. Let's make this more accessible. They did, and then they ended up having to close a little while later, and they contacted us and they're like, thank God we implemented this digital experience. We now have people who can still visit us and can still see what's in the museum without actually, being on site. And that's a great one. And this is really more of a virtual experience. They didn't pay a lot of money to, have someone use certain specific cameras or 360 cameras to come in and do this. They actually just did it themselves. Staff-wise, they went around with a camera and just filmed the inside of the institution. And the one thing I tell people to do now is, if you have a digital experience, if you have an app, put it on your website. If you go on their website, the first thing you see is this message right here. Hey, we're closed, but you can still visit the museum. And that is the most important thing that I've seen people do, because people are going on your site. That's what they're going to see first. It's letting them know we're closed, but digitally we are not closed. Our doors are still open. And that's really important to be able to use that offsite. And then you see that they have their link there. That's really easy to just use. You can use that on a desktop or you can use it on your phone. Again, they have this article here. They actually did reach out to local media and this was posted, and they did see after this article, they had a good surge in usage. So you can't go wrong with just reaching out and doing things that you know are, available to you, even if it's free right now. This is the other one, St. Louis Public Library. St. Louis Public Library gets I think 2.3 million on-site visitors a year. The inside of the main library it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the architecture, they have an architecture tour, but they actually only had the architecture tour 2 days a week. And they noticed that they were missing a lot of people. People couldn't take, if they were missing those 2 tours, that was kind of it. So they actually decided to implement this experience and promote it. And this is how they've been promoting it recently. This is something that they had been posting when they were closing on March 26th. They wanted people to know you can still visit us. You can still go on our virtual tour to see the inside of the Central Library. And it is a rich in history tour, very, very rich in history. And this is something that was really important that they did. And then when they were launching in August of 2019, they actually used this promotion on their actual website and did some press releases. They had a big conference coming up in St. Louis, and they mainly put this out here so that conference goers could go to the library and actually just kind of tour around themselves and use the app. And they said it was flawless and people were able to see this promotion stuff. Another on-site promotion they do, which is a great one, in the actual library itself, when you walk in, they have these big TV screens. It's a green way to just kind of let people know, here's our virtual tour. And that's what they've been doing too. When they reopen, that's what they will do. They'll keep up with those big TV screens with the app experience and how to download up on those. And that's a great one. So in terms of OnCell promotion, we have been working with charity for many years. We've been AMM members for a while. We do the conference app. So we did want to offer AMM members a promotion and the ability to get something up and running quick. And that is something that we are willing to work with you to do. So we're offering a 1 free year subscription and then a 25% discounted setup fee of that $14.95 there, and then a native or web app on our standard plan. This is something that you don't need a ton of content to get it up and running. You just need some basics. The Chicago Institute of Art actually has something called an Essentials Tour as well, where they just do, here's some key artworks in our museum. It's a quick tour. I think it's about 10 minutes. And you could do something like that, an Essentials Tour. You could even do something like the Governor's Mansion is doing where they're charging. But we just wanted to offer this up and to let you guys know that this is what we are going to do for some AMM members who are looking to now maybe implement some digital experiences.
Great. Thank you, Genevieve and Josh and Kyle. What a great overview of the different types of things you can do in a app-based experience and different, sort of options out there for adding activities to those that may be of interest to families and teachers and other audiences at home. We're going to start a Q&A period, and I want to encourage all of our participants today to use the Q&A prompt on their screen. It's in your menu of options at the bottom of your screen where you can click and enter a question. We will answer those questions during this period as they come up. I do have a couple questions myself, but first I want to just thank our friends at OnCell and the presenters today for sharing that, but also the great promotion option to be able to access your platform for free this year is great. For any of you who are in this webinar right now and have attended our conferences, you've used an OnCell app before and see how easily you can flow through the platform itself to find information. We've been happy with it, so I'm sure you'll be happy working with their team too. So that's just our shameless plug there. I would say I've got a couple of questions that I can kind of start off the Q&A portion that may be of interest to people on the call. The first one is, of the examples that you shared from different museums, the different apps and their activities, do you know if all of them or any of them specifically are promoting their app experiences right now during this crisis?
Yeah, so the ones that we had showed, obviously the Governor's Museum, what other one did we have? That one, the St. Louis Public Library, they're promoting it. And then we did have a few others. They are definitely using them as more of offsite experiences, National Gallery of Art. But yeah, the main one is the Governor's Museum is promoting it a lot right now because they are charging admission. So they do want to make sure that people are obviously coming on, and they had a lot of field trips and things that were canceled. So they're doing their best to kind of reach out and let people know that even though they're closed, students and kids and teachers can still use it as an educational experience.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Anybody that you've observed, Genevieve, doing especially well with, beyond that group or within that group of examples with their promotional efforts, doing anything unique?
I have seen, which I've really appreciated, I've seen many museums actually, including the George Eastman House here in Rochester, who we work with as well. What they do is they've actually been pulling from their apps, and they've been pulling audio and images and video, and they've been sharing their collection on social media, which has gotten a lot of obviously good views from people who are looking at this. And then a good one we tell people on social media is, when you're pulling that content from your actual experiences and you are putting them on social media, link it to the app as well. But a lot of people are pulling their collections out and putting those on, which is kind of drawing that attention in. If you hear an audio piece that you like, maybe you're going to then go to that social media. So they've been doing a really good job of that as well.
Great. And then I have one other sort of technical question for the group. With the different activities and elements that you shared, everything from having different languages and the ASL tour to adding games and augmented reality, what sort of lead times should people be preparing for and adding those different types of experiences to apps they may have already, or as they go to set one up? What are sort of the things that are on the shorter end of the spectrum in terms of the number of hours or days it takes to put it together, and then those are on the longer end?
Sure. Good question. So we kind of set up the presentation in an order from kind of the more, what you could consider simpler, quicker, easier to get up and running. So from the Chicago Institute of Art, and just kind of getting some of the content of the Essentials tour in place, to kind of what the Walt Family Disney Museum did with their accessibility tour. It's a little bit easier to take the content of images and text that you may already have or have access to, versus some augmented reality where it takes, back and forth and getting team members together to decide what you really want it to do, figuring out kind of a budget for creating new content that's not something that you can just have a file on your computer already and you can upload it and it can be live for visitors to enjoy. So we tried to lay this out in a way that as you kind of go through the order of the slides and as you rewatch the presentation, it kind of goes from easier, quicker to do to a little bit longer in time frame, or maybe a little bit more resources are needed.
Great, thank you. All right, I invite questions from our audience members today. Anybody have questions? I see we had one that maybe was answered offline. Okay, we've got one new question from David with the Coles Children's Museum. Curious to get your thoughts on sending out information for hands-on experiences like science or children's museums that are specific to tactile exhibits.
Good question. Oh, Genevieve, I was going to say go ahead, but you could answer both of those questions if you could share your screen and show the strong again through your website or through your browser as you answer that.
The Strong Museum?
Yep. The other question was asking if we could access these from desktops, so you can kind of show that, how that's done.
while Genevieve is preparing that, hi, this is Thomas Dunn. I'm the CEO of OnCell. So thank you all for joining today. We really appreciate it. We love being members of AMM, and we appreciate all your participation. If you are a current customer of ours, we have opened up our plans so you can make your apps more virtual. So that's available for you. And the other thing is we've seen is that walking tours, if you get signage, if you have content that you have that is good for your community, for your, for a walking tour, that's a, social distancing. It's a safe thing that people can do, and they're looking for these type of activities. You might even reach an audience that you normally wouldn't reach. So that's something we've seen people have a lot of success with.
Okay, thank you, Thomas.
All right, so here is the Strong. So the Strong National Museum of Play, it's a museum here in Rochester, New York. They've been a client of ours for a long time, and they have pretty much really only tactical exhibits in terms of hands-on experiences. So we do suggest still creating these apps and also still sending out information about them, especially promoting them for, like I said, children to use at home, and also people to use both on-site and off just as a learning experience. This one also has, sometimes they will have school field trips, camp field trips, things like that. So we do recommend that, and then you can see they have some of their exhibit stuff here. So there is certain ways to still kind of get that information across about a tactical exhibit or a hands-on experience. They also do have something which is a cool thing to implement, is they have photo filters. So that's another way, if you do have something that is an exhibit that needs to be hands-on and things like that, that's something we would suggest, is maybe implementing photo filters and making that an experience that is going to be a little bit more interactive, especially maybe even gamified.
Genevieve, I want to add too that I think another option is to, if you've got an app set up that shows different on-site experiences, you can also add in a new link to, say, a video demonstration that you've got on YouTube that pulls up a way that they can kind of simulate that activity at home. Another level of engagement. I know a lot of museums are doing that already, and so it might be content you already have and you can be adding to an experience like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Charity. Just like the Independence, the Find Your Independence app, like we showed, there is ways to take these exhibits that are hands-on and create them in more of a gamified experience. Absolutely.
Are there any other questions from our participants today?
Charity, one thing that we heard on the other day we have an online with OnCell, and one of our customers looks to expand what they do within the app, because some of their touch screens, some of their digital interactives inside the museum, as people do, as you do open back up, there's some question about, you really won't want to promote that, touching of screens, et cetera. And the using of a QR code or a short link and tell people, please scan this, and then you can then have some of those interactives right on your own device. And we can support much of that functionality in the OnCell apps. So that's, I thought, is an interesting idea as places do start to open up, that they can leverage, bring your own device, which people will be more comfortable with.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Very interesting. We have another question that just came through the Q&A box. If I'm interested in more information about setting up an app, how do I do that? How can they connect with you, or to get more information, I guess, perhaps a way to phrase that?
Yeah, great question. So we do have a free test drive available on our website, and I can send you my direct email too if you want to ask questions back to me through there. We can schedule a call to kind of go over what you need to do or what steps you want to take to get started. But what's nice is right through our website, you can sign up for a free test drive, no obligation at all, actually gain access to the builder, start uploading your content and seeing how easy it is to use. And then we can help push that live for you when you're ready.
Great. All right, if there are no other questions, I think that's it for us today. Thanks again to our presenters. Great presentation. I learned a lot today about different things you can do in apps, and lots of suggestions there for marketing as well. To all of our participants and members out there, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I'm happy to connect you with OnCell, and also check out the OnCell website for the test drive and other information. Thank you everyone today. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Charity. It was great being able to present today, and we hope to hear from some people soon.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Charity.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.